My name is David Troy. I am the curator and organizer of TEDx Mid-Atlantic. I also work as a volunteer with Sarge, and Sarge helps out with TEDx Mid-Atlantic, so we're all kind of in the TEDx bandwagon together. As Sarge said, the theme for this session is neighbors and neighborhoods, and we have to start to think about how we relate to each other as a city. And one of the projects that I've been working on for the last few months is to start to map Baltimore by mapping every Twitter user in the city. And the way that I'm doing that is crowdsourcing all of this information and mapping all of the relationships between all of us here in the city. And that looks a little bit like this. And you can see that start to grow and expand. And each one of those little dots is a person, and each of the little lines is a connection between them. The arrangement of that network is basically determined mathematically by the number of common relationships that we share. And you can learn a couple of really interesting things about Baltimore by looking at this, and I could do a whole talk up just about this, and I'm not going to today because this is an ongoing project that's going to require a lot more effort to gather a lot of data and really draw powerful conclusions. But one of the things that you can learn from looking at this is that we are deeply, deeply segregated, and I think we all know that. And it's not just geographic, it's not just by neighborhood, it is about the relationships between us. In fact, we tend to see the same people. How many people have heard the phrase Smaltimore? Yeah, we've all heard the phrase Smaltimore. And the fact of the matter is that the reason why you keep running into the same people at the same things over and over again is because your circle of friends is fairly small. We really don't tend to break out of the circles of friends that we have. One of the goals of an event like TEDxBaltimore, Create Baltimore, some of the other events that I've been involved in, is to bring together people from diverse social circles and smash them together to create those collisions that Sarge talked about so that we can actually start to understand each other. You may know a quote that says, seek first to understand and then to be understood. That quote is from St. Francis of Assisi, not Stephen Covey, as some might believe, but it goes all the way back to St. Francis, probably well before that. And I think in order to really understand our city, we have to get a sense of kind of where things are. So if you look at this graphic, you can see down that orange thing in the bottom, that's pretty much where all the civil discourse goes on. That's kind of the newspaper and the media outlets and the mayor and the city council and me. And TEDxBaltimore is actually on the far bottom edge of that orange blob. And then as you go up, where it says 15%, that's mostly sports fans. That's Ravens and Orioles fans. You go up a little bit beyond that, you get into some folks that are really into like urban hip hop culture. Stuff that I don't understand that well because I'm really white, as you can tell by my position in the graph. But I'm trying to learn. And then as you go up a further left from that, you start to get into a community that identifies really deeply as the DMV. How many of you know the phrase the DMV to identify like DC, Maryland, Virginia? Okay, so some of you, but not all of you. And I think it's important to understand that people don't necessarily identify with being from Baltimore or with being from DC. They identify with being from a region in a lot of cases. And that's showing up in how divided our networks are and kind of the lines that divide us. So, kind of segueing to our next presenter, many of you may be familiar with a film that was released in early release at festivals and stuff over the last several months, and it was premiered at the Maryland Film Festival back in May, called 12 O'Clock Boys. How many of you have seen it? Okay, so not that many of you, but some have, and you know about it. And if you live in Baltimore, you have undoubtedly observed firsthand the phenomenon of kids riding motorbikes, dirt bikes down like North Avenue at high speed, and really having a grand old time of it, and other people being kind of freaked out about it, and it's not uncontroversial. Filmmakers Eric Blair and Lotfi Nathan, producer Eric Blair and filmmaker Lotfi Nathan produced the documentary 12 O'Clock Boys. I'm going to show you a quick trailer. Oh, before I leave on the Twitter thing, this is a really effective way to map minorities. A Pew report in 2012 showed that minority usage of Twitter is much higher than that of white folks. Hispanics and African Americans use Twitter at an almost 2-to-1 ratio, so we're actually getting really good data. And if you'd like to contribute, you can go to twitter.peoplemaps.org and contribute data. 12 O'Clock Boys.
They call them the 12 O'Clock Boys because they drop the bike straight back. If you get to 12 o'clock, You the shit. I've been on this earth for a decade and a couple years. So what that makes me, I'm a grown-ass man.
Baltimore City Sunday. Fuck city council, fuck the police, any of them that tries to stop us. This is our shit. Fucking bird watching us now.
When I got hit, I hit the tree and got knocked out conscious. I like the rush of it.
Any nigga want it, they can come get it.
This one right here, I don't know where he came from. He just wild.
You gonna hurt yourself on them bikes. Them bikes is dangerous.
Don't matter if I fall, break my arm, anything. I'm hopping back on this bike.
You keep hanging with these dudes. Shit is real out here, and them police is not playing.
That's how we do, man, all day. Fuck the police. We live above authority down here.
You can't just ride, call yourself a 12 o'clock boy, and then stop.
So 12 O'Clock Boys actually opens today. Our next speaker has to get to a premiere over at Micah right after this. Can everyone please give a warm welcome to Pug, the protagonist of 12 O'Clock Boys. Hey Pug, how you doing?
Fine.
So I'm going to ask Pug some questions about his experience, and hopefully he can share some insights with us about kind of how this journey's been for him and what's up next. So how old are you right now?
16.
16. And the movie started filming in what year?
2010, like around April.
Okay, so you were like 10 years old.
No, I was 12, going on 13.
Okay, oh, that's right, yeah, because this is, yeah, sorry, 2014, the 10, yeah, you got me. But that's a little while ago. I mean, you were a different person at age 12 than you are at age 16. How do you feel about the way that you were portrayed in the film, and like, how do you feel like you've changed since then?
Like, I got more older. Like, I watched myself grow up in the film. Like, I was younger. My voice is squeaky.
You were pretty cute when you were 12.
Yeah.
You're pretty cute now, but.
I was young.
But you feel like, you kind of, when you look back on that, how does that make you feel? Do you feel like that it was just like a totally different person, or do you feel like it's still you, it's just a different sort of
Yeah,
version?
it's still me, but it's just like I got older and I got more, what's the word? I got more
Maybe mature, I hope.
mature. I
That's
got more
good.
mature, and I got more wise out, doing great in school.
That's
doing
awesome.
all my work. And
Now, describe this process of having a documentary filmmaker sort of living with you every day for a few years. Mr. Nathan would show up, I guess, every day? And describe that a little bit.
yeah, like when it was first happening, like I was feeling weird. Like he just cameras all in my face every day. Like you wake up, you got a camera in your face. You brush your teeth, going to school. Like it was crazy. But then, like after a couple months, I got used to it. Like it was there every day basically. So
You just became used to it, and
Yeah.
it was, part of everyday life. But that went on for like 4 years. Was it like every day for a few weeks at a time, and then he'd kind of go away for a while and come back, or how
yeah,
did
like
that work?
we like in the summer of 2010 and 2011, we was filming like mostly every day, like new footage every day. Like if the movie he ain't had to edit some of the stuff, the movie could be like a whole 2 days long. Like
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure they filmed tons and tons of
yeah,
footage.
like
For those of you that haven't seen the movie yet, he, does, get involved with riding these dirt bikes and gets to be pretty darn good at it, as far as I can tell. Are you still riding?
Yes.
And how often?
Every once in a while, like every other different weekend. Like I'm riding later on the night. I'm gonna ride later on the night when my friends going to the parking lot and just ride, so we won't be in the streets. Just wait until summertime, then all the bikes gonna come back out, and then Willie Wayne, Superman, my uncle, and all them, they just gonna get the flock back together when the weather break, and then everybody just gonna ride.
That's cool. So you're riding mostly in parking lots now, not so much in the streets.
Yes.
I mean, the film documents kind of how people were riding in the streets. You still see it now, I suppose. Do you think that has changed some? Like, do you think that people are kind of becoming more accepting of the fact that people have a problem with dealing with bikes and traffic and stuff? Or how do you think that's evolving?
Like 12 o'clock boys, they ride. Like summertime is gonna be rides every different day because the weather this winter it was bad. Like we had a lot of snow, so a lot of rain. So once people bring their bikes back out, they're gonna be happy when the weather breaks. So there's gonna be a lot of bikes riding around in Baltimore City.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, one of the things that's explored in the movie, you mentioned you're doing really well in school, and it says in the movie that you're really into like nature and animals and that kind of thing. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, like right now I got fish, but when I was young, I used to have every animal. Like I had turtles, dogs, snakes, fish, lizards. I had a lot of animals. Like I used to just go, me and my friends used to go to the woods down the street from my house and just look for salamanders, garden snakes, worms. We just used to bring everything in the house.
Not enough kids do that these days. I think that's awesome, you get outside doing that. And you've got an interest in maybe becoming a veterinarian. I mean, one possible interest.
Yeah, I'm going to college for that. I'm going to college to be a veterinarian.
That's awesome. Now, I understand that there's a scholarship fund that's been set up to help out Pug with some of his college dreams. You happen to know the URL for that off the top of your head? Do you know the URL for that scholarship fund that Eric was talking about?
Yeah, they just was talking to me about that yesterday.
Okay, yeah. We'll share the URL for the scholarship fund. You guys can maybe contribute. But I think, it's extraordinary that, he's got his eyes set on a very specific goal and, is moving in that direction. How do you feel like the film has kind of changed you? I mean, one of the things that happens every time the discussion of this film comes up is that people have either like really positive reactions towards you and they like you as a character. They think that you're, an awesome protagonist and they're rooting for you. And I think that's one of the most compelling things about the film is that you're really, really likable. But a lot of people have really negative reactions to the film. Can you describe maybe some of the negative reactions that people have made towards you and how that's made you feel?
Like when people say negative stuff, like words don't hurt me. Like I don't pay no mind to what people have to say because nobody can judge me but God. God can only judge me. So I don't worry about what people negative have to say about me. Like they can just say what they want.
That's a good attitude. All right, well, we don't have a ton of time left, but tell me a little bit about safety. I noticed a lot of people aren't wearing like helmets and there's some risks being taken. How do you approach safety with biking these days?
The way I started, I was starting off riding in the field, learning how to ride, but when I first got to ride with the 12 o'clock boys on the street, my mother made me wear a whole bodysuit. Like I was stiff. I was stiff riding around like this with a helmet on and all that. But now I just, like, you gotta get used to it. Like, you gotta be more careful. Like, you have to make sure when the police come, don't panic and crash into each other. Just keep calm, like, be calm and just ride.
Stay calm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you gotta protect what's in that head of yours because you're gonna do some good stuff, If you had one thing to tell the mayor and city council about what guys like you that like to ride need to be, happier in your pursuits and maybe feel a little bit more accepted, what would it be?
Can y'all just give us one day to ride, at least just one day? Like, we don't gotta ride every weekend. We can just ride one day out of
Maybe
every
a
2
designated
weeks.
riding route,
Yes.
like a North Avenue dirt bike path.
Yeah.
That's cool. Anything else you want to share with the audience?
My movie coming out today at Micah, 1301 Mount Royal, and it's gonna be in theaters today, and I think tomorrow at Owens Mills.
Awesome. Let's have a round of applause for PUG. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
I have to tell you that when we posted on the Facebook page that PUG would be speaking, we got a 150 comment long thread with a lot of positive and a lot of negative things about this film. And I encourage you to go out there and see it because it really does spark a conversation. And it's a meaningful conversation. It's not an easy conversation. It's a complex conversation. So definitely take the time to check it out. I have to say that when I first saw it, I became angry. And you know, I had to really sort through what it was I was angry about. And in a lot of ways, you know, it had to do with making sure that that guy was all right and making sure that there was a good pathway forward for him. And I think that the filmmakers are doing a responsible job of that. So anyway, thank you so much for PUG and for Tarek Blair for having him here.